this cooperation. Unfortunately, we are not speaking about days or weeks concerning ICRIE 2022. We are speaking about hours that are ahead of us. But we had, I hope, experienced a lot during the past days of the International Conference on Research Infrastructures. Let's just have a look what was happening. It all started at Masaryk University with the very first meeting, continuing here in this very hotel when we open up with the first session to talk about all the stuff that were needed and necessary to be mentioned during the ICRIE 2022. You could ask questions. You can come forward with your points. And in the full house that was here in Brno, and with hundreds of participants online, you could share your experience. You could share what you learned and what you wanted to the others to learn. Representatives of the Czech government came to talk to you, came to meet you. You can share your experience with them, and you can also try maybe to start a collaboration and cooperation. They were looking at things. I don't understand the laughter. While they were taking part in the visits that were available for everybody, that you could visit the infrastructures here in Brno, you could see the ecosystem that was created here in South Bohemia region, in South Moravia region, that you could have a chance to meet with others and to see their work, to take part in it as much as possible. That you could share your experience from all around the world, that those who were introducing their ideas and their research to the others, that we can truly share and learn in a fruitful debate. This is the picture I truly like. And I encourage you to start a competition for the greatest comment of what is happening in this very picture. Because I would love to know. My best guess is, oh, Praha is the best. No, Brno is the best. I would love to know. Let us know if you do. You had the chance to visit the sites that were prepared not only for you, but also for general public, because that was part of ICRIE 2022 as well. Over 40 projects, 40 meetings beside the main event were organized. Dozens of possibilities for the general public to engage. You went to the planetarium to learn more about extremely large telescope and the work of ESO is doing in Chile. You came to WIDA. 400 of you came to WIDA to learn more about science, to learn more about the cooperation that is available. You learned about anything you wanted to learn as part of the program. And the program was prepared for general public as well. So people can be moving forward in their understanding of not only lasers, but also of history, such as the history of the man who is the founder and father of genetics, who was working here, Gregor Johann Mendel. He was born 200 years ago, and he is the father of genetics. That is one of the keystones for the modern medicine. And I hope you had a great time enjoying the company of other visitors, of the speakers, of the delegates, even in the social events. And I do believe, magnificent venue that you hopefully enjoyed during yesterday's evening. To have a chance to chat, to learn, to have simply a great time. I do hope you enjoyed that. And I'm interested to hear from those who will be closing up ICRIE 2022, what did they learn? What are the takeaways? And what are nature the wishes for the 2024? Let's start with Jana Kolar, the chair of European Strategy Forum on Research Infrastructures, to start the closing of ICRIE 2022.
Thank you very much. Now, it's unfortunate, actually, that this event is coming to a close. And it's unfortunate that I have to address in the closing session what I have learned, because there were so many things running in parallel that it's absolutely impossible to recap on such a rich event. So what you will hear now is a perspective of ESRI. First of all, some of you do not know what it is. I'll need to mention that. And I will tell you what we plan to do till the end of next year. And you will see what are the relevant, immediately, What are the relevant contributions that this conference brought also to the work of ESFRI? And I will emphasize some of them, and all of this, I'm told, in 6 minutes, which is left for this. I will actually try to be shorter. So basically, just to let you know, just to inform you about what is ESFRI. ESFRI stands for European Strategy Forum on Research Infrastructures. It brings together European Commission and national representatives, beyond EU alone, also countries associated to Horizon European program, are national representatives, in order to do coherent and strategy-led approach to policy making on research infrastructures in Europe. And we are best known for two of the biggest outputs, which is the ESFRI roadmap, periodically updated, of European research infrastructures, and the landscape analysis. And the ESFRI roadmap is estimated to have so far, actually, the investment agenda associated with the roadmap is estimated at 25 billion. This is not now euros. This is not now, but extending over the 20 years of the existence of ESFRI and the first roadmap, which was published in 2006. Now, the current activities that we are implementing already, and we hope to have policy papers by the end of 23, are the following. These are just some of them, let's say several of them, but the list is still growing. We will have a report on how to extend our international cooperation. And this is based on the Council conclusions, which invited us that research infrastructure, it complemented research infrastructure for their international engagement and asked them to increase it. Then we are currently also doing landscape analysis, and we will prepare the methodology for the next roadmap. We have undertaken an ambitious plan to start the monitoring of existing research infrastructures, ESFRI infrastructures. And we will have a paper on impact assessment. Now, a lot has been done on impact assessment, although here, also here, several sessions. It was discussed during 2 sessions. The fact is that what we would like to, will not invent anything new, but what we want to do is to recap on the knowledge, and also the one that was contributed by the ICRI participants, and present it to our delegates, to our members. Because that is the way, in our opinion, that we can consolidate, best consolidate the knowledge on national and EU level. Then there's a paper on access to research infrastructure, which was discussed in 3 sessions here. Open access to data, financing, industry cooperation. We have just 2 days ago decided to start a cooperation on the how to address the energy crisis with respect to especially the energy-intensive research infrastructures. There's a strong activity on how to engage with a variety of stakeholders, communication, and similar. And the list, the list fortunately is growing, which demonstrates the ambition of ESFRI and the commitment of all the members that are involved in such an ambitious program. Now, following the ICRI event, which addressed several of the topics that were presented here. Now, I could not follow all of the sessions, but my colleagues were, and they have also taken notes, so we will be able to discuss this and integrate it better into the future activities. Now, what I can say on this slide, I think it's the one before last, is that we certainly need a global approach, and that's more current now than ever before, for several reasons. We heard several inspiring messages and took home and will take home learnings from various sessions on the impact, data, communication, challenges, access, regional imbalances, skill gaps, ecosystems, and other relevant topics discussed here. So how should we proceed with this? So we need more cooperation. We need, if possible, to share the resources, share investments, share access, share policy across various continents. So first of all, I think coming from ESFRI, which deals with coordination of policy, I will start with this part. Now, we have, on our plan, you saw that we have a paper on how to increase our collaboration, international collaboration. We have met a number of our international colleagues here and listened from about their plans. Now, this is an excellent opportunity, the conference, to extend our network, get in touch with the relevant parties across various continents and internationally in order to coordinate policies wherever there's a need for this. Of course, we need a mutual need for this. Then the other topic is then how to coordinate funding. How do we come up with funding of joint activities? Now, regarding funding, of course, coming from Europe, we have a very strong program in Europe, currently called Horizon Europe, which has a separate, which in pillar which is dedicated to fundamental research, also supports activities of research infrastructures in particular. Now, for all the countries, let's say, which are which are still in the development phase, they are able to benefit from this program. So we have a basis for collaboration with those countries. Now, when it comes to funding with the joint funding with developed countries, it's basically not as well organized as opportunities are rather limited. Not that it doesn't happen. In several of cases, let's say developed countries may agree to fund their own part. Now, what I'm proposing is that in this case, we could learn from a mechanism that funding agencies developed within EU, where they recognize, several of them, it's called lead agency agreement, they recognized evaluations, meaning that if, for example, this was very useful in case of COVID. It was immediately, for example, started. I was chairing the board of Slovenia's funding agency, and we started preparing call to support researchers in Slovenia addressing COVID issues. And I saw that Austrian agency will prepare it faster than we will. So we asked our researchers to apply together with Austrian researchers to the Austrian call. And the agreement that we have in place allowed us, because this call was turned into the lead agency agreement, that if the project is accepted by the Austrian funding body, it's accepted automatically by the Slovenian part, and we all fund each other's part. And this is a good approach, for example, to use also in Horizon, if that could be, of course, agreed with the agreed by the policymakers and the runners of the program. Now, this is functioning very well between the various funding agencies in Europe. Now, once we have the coordination of policies and we have funding of joint activities and development, this will enable us to then have to put our joint approaches to global challenges, but also to support new scientific developments in a higher gear. And I think that this is absolutely needed at this point, which is what I started with, more than ever before. So I'll come back with the key, main take-home message, which is not mine, but by Henry Ford and Howard Hale, that ICRI conference was great because it allowed us to come together, and this is a beginning, and to establish the contacts across various continents, which also will allow us to build further and enhance our cooperation. We need to keep it going, and that will be progress. But I do hope that what we will have at the end is increased working level of cooperation, and this will be considered a success from my side. Thank you very much. Just to conclude, this is just my message because we did not have ESFRI meeting to consolidate the messages. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I would like to ask Jonna Drake, the Deputy Director General for Research and Innovation, representing European Commission, for the final remarks.
I promise it's the last time. I was told to keep this very short in proportion to my size, so I will. Okay, we've come to the end of ICRI. I thank again the Czech Ministry of Education, Masaryk University, and the CTEC and ICRI organizing team. Lots of work, lots of inspiring content, a really great example of an ecosystem that can work even further, that has greater potential. At the end of the day, we have seen that, in fact, our challenges are common. Research infrastructures struggle for sustainable finance, reaching out to new users, making the most use of the remote access, managing the data, and also catalyzing the capacity of research infrastructures to address, like yesterday, societal challenges. Of course, we cannot be too idealistic, because at the end of the day, you know, the perfect is always the enemy of the good, as they say. But we have to acknowledge, you know, that sometimes the sheer cost of the infrastructures and the funding challenges, especially in physics and astrophysics, can be daunting. But we know that at the end of the day, also, even if digitalization is itself a challenge, keeping up in new technologies, but in fact it is an enabler, because at the end of the day, researchers know that digitalization has and will continue to open new opportunities in the form of distributed facilities. So in a way, international research infrastructure communities, you have to consider yourself as actually pioneers. So I think if you go back home with this thought that you are actually pioneers of a global research ecosystem, I think that you can go to bed very, very soundly at night and get up with a lot of energy in the morning. I can assure you that. So it's not only the getting together, the working together, and also making it work with a success, but also I would say that my strong belief is the following, that research infrastructures are the perfect channel for international scientific collaboration. And this comes from the heart of the European Commission, which, as you know, is itself on the world stage, you know, with daunting challenges to be dealt with. So think of yourselves as pioneers, as true diplomats of science, with a very internationalized and common vision to which others might want to refer to at any point in time. But let's look a little bit ahead. If we want to maximize our return on the investment in any facility, in any research infrastructure, the excellence, international-based access is the key to making it happen. There has already been a lot of progress in the area in Europe, but I would like to suggest and send you home, apart from 2 words of pioneer and diplomat on the international stage, I would say the following. Just to keep the adrenaline and the grey matter working, maybe we could think about targets for the next discussions. Which existing global research infrastructures can enlarge their membership in the near future in order to further strengthen their excellence and outreach? How can we collectively foster capacity building in the parts of the world where it is needed? Do we have the right means at our disposal? And if not, how can we get there? What else can we collaborate on that is useful for climate change monitoring, for migration, for adaptation? more and more people will be scrambling for this. How can we monitor ourselves at the highest international levels? How can we work together to improve our performance on health, energy, and processes for a sustainable economy? How do we collaborate for further increasing our understanding of basic physics? How do we go about ensuring we train the human resources we will need, including data managers? Well, that's quite a lot on your plate to think about, but I just wanted to make sure you had enough time to be kept busy with workshops, etc., with it yourselves in order to keep the working together going. But I'm convinced that the outcomes of this conference itself, but also future editions, when we meet again in 2024, will already have not only the answers, but probably the solutions as well, ready to be deployed. ICRI has, I think, branded itself over the years as a reference point, not only for good governance, which, by the way, as we said earlier this morning, is not to be taken for granted anymore, but it's also a way of how we can be convincing that this model of governance actually results in real international cooperation, in real concrete results, and definitely will be going more and more pushing for the full potential. I'm looking in particular here at the GSOs, the group of senior officials of research infrastructures, and most of the delegates have participated in this event, and I'm looking forward to the GSO stepping up on its work on the GSO framework and beyond to facilitate closer collaboration and to give a boost to our common endeavors. And I'm convinced that we have a new opportunity there coming up now that the pandemic seems to be abating and meetings in person become more and more possible. Our parting pledge as European Union, and I'll conclude, as European Commission, I can say that we shall maintain our support for international cooperation in research infrastructures, also using our own jobs and our own tools such as Horizon Europe for the purpose. Nevertheless, in the coming years, we will count on close cooperation with our partners within the G7 GSO and the OECD's GSF, as well as in different regions of the world, Latin America, Asia, Africa, and Australia. And we're looking forward very much to continuing this effort to work closely with you, as only together we can effectively face the contemporary challenges of humanity and the ones we don't know about yet. Thank you very much.
Let's add the American perspective. Ronald Roberts, Deputy Chief Officer for Research Facilities at the National Science Foundation, will be the next to speak, I do hope. Looking for him. Oh, coming from the side. You are styling. You are styling how to come on stage. Nicely done. Please.
Thank you. So I have been asked to make a few comments from the US perspective on this past 3 days. But I hope that you would permit me before saying anything. One of the things, as one of the speakers said before, is that my comments can be very, very brief. I can just say ditto to what has already been said. But I want you to permit me to extend on behalf of all of the US representatives here, thanks to our Czech hosts and to the ICRI conference organizers. We thank you so much for being such gracious hosts. Thank you. So I am going to frame my comments in the context of the US Biden-Harris administration's priorities. The priorities of our current administration are the COVID-19 pandemic, of course, dealing with the challenges associated with that, providing economic relief, tackling climate change, advancing racial equity and civil rights, reforming our immigration system, and restoring America's standing worldwide. Those are the challenges, those are the priorities of the Biden-Harris administration. The guiding topics of the ICRI conference aligns well, or maybe our priorities aligns well with the guiding topics of the ICRI conference. Over the past couple days, some major themes emerged that are of interest to us: data, integration and harmonization, open access and data sharing, data management and the curation of large data sets, data-informed policy drivers, climate change, how we can collaborate to mitigate and adapt to the challenge of climate change, health, our readiness for the next pandemic or whatever emergency hits us globally. Human capital development, workforce development, equity, science development, advancing scientific research, and not just scientific research, but advancing and training the next generation of the builders and implementers of research infrastructure. That's very important to us. Connections and synergies across large, mid-scale, and small research infrastructures. Broad, interdisciplinary research infrastructures covering the physical sciences, the biological sciences, the social sciences, and humanities. And in that area, the latter area, I think that there is a lot for us in the US to learn from the European experience in the social sciences and humanities, and even our neighbors to the north in Canada. We'll be reaching out to you. I'll be reaching out to you to talk to some of you about this. How research infrastructures are fit for purpose, and how they can be agile to address the next emerging challenges. Just a few points on data. In addition to all of the factors I've mentioned before, data standards, open, broad access necessary for catalyzing transformative research globally. I love the phrase that the Czech Prime Minister used, from data to knowledge to actions. This involves training the next generation in big data analytics and providing the compute capabilities to analyze these large data sets. Adherence to fair data principles and care data principles, and I would like here to acknowledge my Australian colleagues for basically highlighting that throughout their presentations. We noticed that. Thank you so much. Yeah. So what are the challenges going forward? Common, comparable metrics for research infrastructure success. We need to develop metrics that are meaningful locally and that are globally relevant so that we can compare our successes and maybe our disappointments across our facilities. Human capital development, workforce development, diversity and equity. Expanding the collaborative framework across disciplines, sectors, regions, and countries. And we are very interested in continuing to build trust. And I know it's a hard thing to rebuild, but we are interested in rebuilding that trust as we continue to work our way forward. We look forward to continued collaboration with you, building on our mutual interest. And in the words of my boss, the director of the National Science Foundation, let's pursue these common interests at speed and at scale. I spoke to several of you. I had the honor of speaking to several of you, and I said, let's stay in touch. The next ICRI conference should not be the first time we speak to each other again. I am very serious about staying in touch with you and learning from your experience and helping to build this global infrastructure of RIs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now I would like to ask Jiří Nantl, Deputy Governor of the South Moravian region and Director of CETEC, Masaryk University, the Central European Institute of Technology, part of Masaryk University, for his closing remarks.
Thank you, Daniel. That was a long introduction.
Longer than your speech?
I'm afraid not. But I will indeed keep it short. Let me first thank you all for being here in South Moravia. We are very proud that we can host such an important global event. Of course, we also host an important number of research infrastructures. And I was very glad to witness here that 2 ERICs, in which also CETEC participates, were signing the memorandums of understanding. And I think that underlines our current role as Brno research institutions and of South Moravia and the Czech Republic in science. But it wasn't always the case. We could speak that South Moravia hosts a number of research infrastructures, but South Moravia has also been, in past 20 years, transformed by research infrastructures and by the ambitions of our universities and our academic leaders in this region. And this is something we have to acknowledge. There was a vision behind the new campus in Bohunice, which is now one of the largest life sciences campuses in Central Europe. There was a vision behind founding CETEC, which is now in 12th year of our existence. And there was a vision of many people working in science behind incorporating Czech science and Czech research infrastructures into the European structures. And this has contributed to making this region to a very different place than it was 20 years ago. We then had outdated industries in Brno and very agricultural rest of the region. Now we have a booming high-tech industries, over 500 innovative companies here in Brno and surroundings, many global companies having their R&D centers here, and that's also because of the human capital of research infrastructures. And it has also made South Moravia a region with second highest GDP in this country and with a quality of life that we as regional government proudly try to care of. And we are also very proud we can work with our academic partners and with the Ministry of Education partners. And concluding my speech, I would like to acknowledge and thank very much to Lukáš Levák and his colleagues in the Ministry Administration and to Ondřej Hradil and very many people in the university for taking care for that many years of these sometimes very technical issues surrounding research infrastructures, but in the end very important for the prosperity of our region and this country. So thank you, and I'm glad to witness this conference has probably been a success.
Thank you very much. If you have not been to the CETEC, please make sure that you are coming to the research infrastructure of CETEC in a very, very, very close future, so you can witness what is happening over there. What was happening was sad. What will be happening will be sad. I would like to kindly ask Sarah Brown to join us on stage because I'm interested to learn about what's going to happen in 2 years' time in ICRI 2024. Let's go from the Czech Republic to Australia.
Thank you very much. So Australia is pleased to announce that it will work with the European Commission to host ICRI 2024. But firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians and elders of country throughout Australia and pay my respects to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander elders past, present and emerging. Hosting ICRI 2024 is an exciting opportunity for Australia. We look forward to important discussions on global research infrastructures, impacts of emerging technologies on research, foresighting trends in research infrastructure and international trends in digital research, infrastructure planning and management. We also look forward to showcasing our leading-edge research infrastructures, including the 24 projects under the Australian Government's National Collaborative Research Infrastructure Strategy, or NCRIS as we like to call it, and a number of those projects have been here this week for the amazing conversations. Over coming months, we'll work to identify an appropriate host university and venue for ICRI 2024 and to provide this community with further information. Australia has a strong history as a partner and leader in international research. Our 2021 National Research Infrastructure Roadmap recognises that NRI has an important role in supporting international linkages and contributing to the production and dissemination of research knowledge. Our NRI facilities are involved in international collaborations either multilaterally or bilaterally. These partnerships occur at various levels, ranging from institutional to government to government. Our NRI facilities also engage in a broad range of existing global infrastructures, including, and of course this is not an exhaustive list, but things like the Square Kilometre Array, which we're very excited to host part of the facility for, the European Molecular Biology Laboratory, the Global Ocean Observing System, the Giant Magellan Telescope, the International Ocean Discovery Program, the International Mouse Phenotyping Consortium, the Research Data Alliance, and the Global Ecosystem Research Infrastructure. We look forward to continuing to build our international relationships and partnerships and networks and engagement opportunities for Australia's research infrastructure community at ICRI 2024 and to continue the really important conversations from ICRI 2022. Our sincere thanks to our hosts and organisers for this great conference, and look forward to seeing you all in 2024 in Australia. Thank you.
Please do not leave. Do you have the team here? Is the team of Australia present?
So any Australian delegates want to come up at the stage
and join us,
take
please.
bow? Yep.
Please, let us meet you.
Please come
through. You will be the host of 2024.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate, yeah. Yeah, those are members of the team who will be hosting ICRI 2024. And naturally, the step from 2022 to 2024 is not only 2 years' time, it's also the handing over to make sure that you are getting ready. That's why I would like to kindly ask Ondřej Hradil, the main organizer of ICRI 2022, and Professor Bareš, director of Masaryk University, to join us on stage to make sure that we can go to Australia. Martin Bareš is coming with the flowers for the team from Australia, the president of the Masaryk University. Sir?
Yes. Actually, this is the moment that Czech Republic, Brno, Masaryk University meets Australia. Thank you very much.
And Ondřej Hradil has something special in his hand. You all received a small gingerbread. But, you know, creating ICRI 2024 is a big task. That's why the teams need a bigger bread. That's why a special gingerbread See You in ICRI 2024 in Australia was created with the team of ICRI 2022, so the collaboration is truly fruitful. We wish you only the best of luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We are keeping fingers crossed to everything is walking nicely towards ICRI 2024. The official closing of the official closing is prepared for Václav Velčovský, the Deputy Minister for the European Union International Affairs and the EU Cohesion Policy Funds, representative of Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport of the Czech Republic.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, everybody. Seeing me for the second time already. I'm not going to start with a joke, which is quite, well, it's not so common in my speeches. However, you have asked what I have learned. And the point I have learned today and yesterday when I arrived to Brno is that at the same time, where barbaric aggression of one totalitarian regime against independent state fires, where research infrastructures and research institutions are under attack, where schools and universities and other civic aims are being used as a force to destabilize the independent country, that at the same time, you, the representatives from all over the world, all the countries, are here. Even the war, or not war, aggression, and I would say barbaric aggression, 600 kilometers away from Brno. You are here, and you are proven as well your responsibilities, because you are not only researchers or the managers, you are intellectuals. And as Ralph Dahrendorf said, intellectuals are movers and shakers. So please don't forget this something what, talking about universities, we are talking about the third role. But this third role has its individual aspect as well. And you prove it, and you are great. And on behalf of the Czech government and all the European Union, we are holding the presidency this half year. I want to sincere thank you. Thank you for being here, thank you for being human. And, well, okay, not to be too serious. However, I think it should be necessary to be mentioned, because this world is connected. These are not parallel worlds, it's still the same one. And sometimes we are talking about European values, no? as a core something we have together. But there is something more behind the freedom, behind the human rights. And this is something what I personally call the art of understanding. And in the Czech language, you have nice word. You have word mluvit, it means speak. You have word domluvit, to arrange. Domluvit se, to understand. And this is why we are teaching languages. But this is as well the proof that we are, and we feel as the biggest added value of being Europeans, to find ways to understand each other without the war conflicts. And this is something what is behind even the ESFRI, even behind the conception of research infrastructures. I used to thank as well. I used to thank Daniel for being excellent moderator. And I don't know if you know it, that he is the holder of the prize of the Academy of Sciences for popularization of research. So please, Daniel. I would like to thank President Baresh, rector of the University of Masaryk. I hope that he's not. There is again. Okay, it's applause. Applause is enough. Applause is enough. Martina, díky. And I need to thank personally to 3 persons, which I would like to ask them to come here on the stage. And it is Lukáš Levák, the director of Research and Development Department of the Ministry of Education. Lukáš, please come up. Because, you know, it's him, it's not me. It's him. It's not even the minister, it's him. It's him. And I would like to thank 2 important persons. Without them, we would not be able to organize all events and all sites events and all the alls. And it is Mr. Hradil and Ms. Vémolová, please. Enjoy the applause. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Enjoy it, and not even the applause, but we have also as well small present for you. I don't know what is inside, but I'm not sure if you want to know it. And last but not least, thanks to the city of Brno. And I hope that the Brno Declaration will be the most important part in the 21st century, what will be connected with South Moravia. So, not even the jokes between Prague and Brno, but a Prague Declaration. Good luck and thank you very much. Brno Declaration.
You see, we are still joking about Prague and Brno. So thanks a lot. Enjoy the lunch.
Thank you very much to all. Enjoy lunch, enjoy the social events that were prepared naturally for you for the evening, maybe or the afternoon. Maybe you have applied for some. Do not forget to take a picture of the summary of the summaries and of the closing part of the ICRI 2022. Hopefully you had a lovely time and you will have a safe trip home. Thank you very much and see you soon.